Welcome to Marketing State of Mind, the podcast where clarity meets visibility. I'm Lynn, strategist and systems whisperer, here to unpack the mindset behind your marketing moves. Whether you're launching, scaling, or starting over, let's find the choices that actually feel like you. Welcome back to A Marketing State of Mind, and today I'm joined by someone who embodies action over hesitation. Drewbie Wilson is a coach, speaker, and VP at Break Free Academy, known for his no-nonsense mantra, called the damn leads, which I adore. Even though it scares me, we're diving into what it takes to simplify, to take action, and build a brand that doesn't just exist, but it moves with you. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be here. One small correction, was VP at Break Free Academy. I ended up leaving there a little bit about 2 years ago. So apparently I got to update my bio somewhere. It's in, one of those things. But all the same, we're here. I'm excited. It was a big part of my journey. And so we're going to have some fun today.
Oh, you know what? That's so funny because I double checked that fact because I was worried about it. I'm like, VP. Okay, so I just want to make sure I get that title correct. And I did check it. It is.
I'll have to
So
go and look and figure out where it's, the internet has like 96 different places where we
I
store
know.
information. And so I'm sure it's on me, but I appreciate the call out because it's a good reminder as marketing is. Sometimes we got to go back and we got to fix our messaging so that we're having the right conversation at the right time.
Exactly. And which brings us to kind of my first question is to tell us about you and your story and how you got to where you are now and where you legitimately are since I have the bio information wrong. So tell us all about you.
Absolutely. So my name is Drewbie Wilson. I'm a husband, father, podcast host, author, multiple best-selling titles. I've spoken on stages all across the country. I also tattooed Meme Lord across my knuckles because I'm somewhat of a degenerate, and also I love being me. I think that's part of my marketing is my personal brand, and I have actually used memes in our marketing and sales process personally to generate well over $10 million in sales, as well as coached entrepreneur sales professionals, business owners all across the world to do the same. And I won't take credit for what they've done, but I know the number of sales used is like into the hundreds of millions at this point. And so, I'm just a regular Joe. I came up in the world selling anything and everything I could get my hands on. As I got older, realized, hey, listen, I don't want to end up dead or in prison. I got a beautiful wife, beautiful young son. Let me get into the more legitimate side of sales. So I've sold tobacco, furniture. I was in a couple different retail situations. That led me to insurance, which is really where I cut my teeth and kind of developed the Call the Damn Leads branding way before it became what it is. That led me to consulting, working in a SaaS startup that was part of the Break Free Academy team. And, honestly, these days I am all the way in on Call the Damn Leads. Had an opportunity about 18 months ago to step into this full time, started traveling in a fifth wheel RV with the family, kind of living that true nomad entrepreneur lifestyle. And that's a big part of our marketing and branding is showing others how to create their version of success because it's a perspective, right? Everyone's is a little bit different. We may have some similarities. We may want some of the same things, but at the end of the day, you are you and you want to create what's right for you. And so I'm a big believer that that's possible so long as you're willing to call the damn leads, so long as you're willing to do the work, and ultimately as long as you're willing to be yourself.
No, I totally get it. And even before this podcast started, I referenced I love Call the Damn Leads. I love that as a call line. I love that as all the things to embody to take action. And equally said, because I'm an introvert, it's super scary. And I love that you kind of called yourself out and saying that um people need to kind of find their own path and their own way of calling the damn leads, however that's going to be. So when you're looking at that as a mindset, what do people kind of need to think of when they are looking at their own lives? How do they find their own call the damn leads action?
Ooh, so it's kind of a deep question. We'll do a brief overview, but essentially to me, the number one thing behind call to damn leads, the mindset is just really doing the work. And so that could mean, sending the text message, writing the emails, building the landing page, setting up your marketing. Like there's so many layers to what call to damn leads really is. But at the end of the day, I think the way that you find your version of it is it starts with, what is your time worth? Where are you spending it? Are you doing things that's actually generating a return on that investment, and not just financially, but spiritually, in your family life, in your personal life, in your mental wellness, because there's so many layers to what that is. But time, energy, and effort are the only things you can't get back. You can't win in a poker tournament. No one gets a box of it on Christmas morning or for their birthday as a gift. Like literally those are our finite resources. And so I think it all starts with realizing that once you start investing your time in the best way possible, that's when you start achieving the things that you're looking for in life. But it all comes back to intentionality.
Okay. Okay, so when you're talking about intentionality and then putting this together, finding your own mantra, kinda, one thing I love to say is to begin where you are, just to start and just to be moving forward. What is your position on consistency versus creativity versus bandwidth? Because this is a question I get asked a lot where people are like, do I need to post every day? Do I need to update my website? How consistent do I need to be? How creative do I need to be? How much bandwidth do they have left over? And my positioning, and you totally disagree with me, is always do what you can now, work with your bandwidth, and it will grow and shrink. It's elastic. But just to be like automaton of posting every day doesn't make sense if you don't have anything to say. So I'll throw it back to you. Consistency, creativity, and bandwidth, and your take on it.
I love it. So consistency is the ultimate key to achieving anything. And so we kind of just start with that. And to me, when I think about creativity and bandwidth, like I'm going to kind of lean back in on time, but everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. And so to me, there's really the four areas of life that are super important. And that's rest and recovery, number one. Because listen, I'm at an age where I need my beauty sleep. Like I've stayed up for way too many days. And, anybody that's stayed up overnight and tried to keep working into the next day, you realize it's kind of useless. Like you're just not as effective as you could be. Um, then we have our family, our legacy, our relationships, the people in our lives that matter to us. And that could stretch to a number of people. It could just be a small amount of people. It really just depends on the person. And we have our business, which, I don't have FU money to where I can just do whatever I want whenever I want. And most people listening to this probably aren't at that point either. So you realize you still have to show up and do the work every day. And then we have ourselves, which is where you see a lot of people put themselves at the bottom of that list, and then they're burnout, unhappy, out of shape, like miserable. And yet they're still trying to show up for all of those other areas. And they're just kind of halfway in it through their day. And so when I think about consistency and bandwidth, if I look at it, well, okay, there's four areas of my life that matter, and there's 24 hours in a day. If we do a little bit of math, that's 6 hours for each thing. I'm lucky enough that I can survive on 6 hours of good sleep and still have a pretty successful day, which means that I can spend 6 hours on me, I can spend 6 hours with my family, and I can spend 6 hours focused on my business. And here's what I know. Most people in their typical 8 hour workday, they're really only working like 2 or 3 hours. The rest of it, they're kind of spent doing whatever, watching YouTube or, researching social media. And like, okay, cool. I'm not going to argue with you. There's an extent to that for a creativity purpose, right? What's trending? What's new? How do I get better? But to me, the consistency comes to if you build your day for success, anyone who's ever spent 6 hours on a project they're really excited about, time goes like this. You ever spent 6 hours doing something you really, really hate? It drags on forever, right? It's like doing planks. You see those jokes and those memes where it's like, honey, I'm so sorry. A minute really is a long time. And it's just one of those things where if you want to create the life that you want to live, consistency in how you spend your time is how you're going to get there. And if you put time on your calendar to be creative, well, guess what? You don't have to just come up with it on the fly. You can go into that time block being like, okay, for the next hour, I'm going to spend all of my time creating graphics or writing ads or whatever. And if you're 100% focused, you know how to get yourself into that mood, into that mindset, into that state of flow or focus. The problem is people are trying to bounce between 7 different projects at one time, and they have a lot of open loops. And so when you've got all these open loops going on in your unconscious mind, essentially what's happening is like you can't feel like you can finish anything. And so you don't want to do any of it. As in, though, if you just say, all right, this task is going to get done here, and I'm going to do as absolutely much as I can during this time block. And then I'm going to take 5 minutes. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to do a spin in circles around my desk, whatever that thing is for you. Reset yourself, sit down, and move into the next task. By the end of the day, you're going to be like, wow, I got a lot of stuff done. And it's going to give you more confidence. And that confidence is going to lead to more creativity. And the more creativity is going to lead you to how do I structure my day to do more things that I want to get done? And I know it's kind of cliche, but it all comes back to your time and how disciplined you are with using it. Because at the end of the day, all marketing is just creating conversation with others that understand what you're going through and what you're trying to accomplish and how you're trying to help them do very much in the same way.
Okay. Okay. I 100% agree with that. And a lot of it has to do then with, as you were talking about, managing your time, using your time effectively. I like the analogy of uh, how much work do you actually get in the office? I mean, I know I'm sitting in front of the computer doing work and something, well, it's difficult because when you work in marketing and you have to be on these social media platforms, it's like, okay, I'm going to go just check the ad stats on Facebook. And then it's like, 20 minutes later, dang it sucked me in. What was I even here for? So, so that as part of discipline, and that's one thing that if from what I've read about what you're doing is you really embrace discipline, and even just looking at your time blocks in your day, that takes discipline. So what was the turning point that allowed you to kind of embrace discipline as this superpower? What was it that made you go, I can use this better?
So I wouldn't say there's just one. There's several along the way that have continued to like reinforce this idea. One of the big ones was when I was selling insurance. I was one of the top sales guys in my market, doing very, very well from the outside, right? Winning all the awards, all the other agencies would call us and have us talk to them about what we were doing. And I was only making like 30 or $40,000 a year. And so I was like, I don't understand. All these other people online are making 6 figures, 7 figures, and like, what am I doing wrong? And so I kind of learned like, all right, well, I'm a sales guy, and if I had more leads, I'd make more money because I'd make more sales. And so I was like, well, let me go online and learn marketing and learn how to get my own leads. Kind of makes sense, right? It's just a math problem. So I got into the online social media and Facebook groups and was like learning this marketing stuff and started building a landing page and running Facebook ads. And then in one of the groups that I was a part of, one of the ladies that was in the same group using the same software I was using, she reached out to me via Facebook Messenger. And she's like, hey, I see that you're having some success with this platform. You got a shout out from the owner of the company and his group. And so like clearly you're doing something well. How much for an hour of your time to hop on a call and help me do this? And I was like, what a humbling question. And, I'm in my mind trying to run the math on like, all right, well, I work 40 hours a week. And then, I have a base salary. And then if I was in a regular job, I'd get time and a half for working on a weekend or whatever. And I'm like, just doing this quick math. And she's on the other side, just waiting, like, cue the Jeopardy music. And, and I'm like, well, Nancy, how about $50? And she's like, well, I was going to give you 75. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that. And so, I set up the time with her. I hop on the call. We do the consultation. And like, it's like this conversation, right? We're just vibing. We're talking about things that are working, some of the strategies. Get off the call. She Venmos me $75. And I just looked at it and went, how do I do this every day? Like 2-3 times a day. And then I wouldn't have to sell insurance, nor would I be struggling as much as we are. And it's not that we were struggling bad, but like, when you're making $30,000-$40,000 a year, that's not a lot of money. To some people it might be, but at the time I was just married, had a brand new baby, had just bought a house, like that money was
Yeah.
flying out just as fast as it was coming in. And so that conversation really made me kind of think about like, if time, energy, and effort are the only things I can't get back, I have two choices on how I'm going to make more. I can either work twice as much, which I definitely don't want to do, or I can improve my skill set and my mindset and my belief of my own personal worth so that every hour that I invest into something is worth more to the marketplace. And so it was just this big shift around like you, me, are so much more skilled than you give yourself credit for, but you have to also be intentional and focused with that time, energy, and effort in order to be able to achieve the result that you're capable of. So it's kind of like a convoluted way of explaining it, but it was just that realization of like, wow, dude, you're way better than you thought. Give yourself a little credit, believe in who you are and what you can do, and go tell the marketplace about it.
No, and that makes sense. It's kind of like being seen and your value recognized, and then you looking back at that mirror reflection going, my time has value and it's above what I'm doing with insurance. And I have a unique skill set and I can use this to help other people, which to me, I think everybody has their own turning point and everybody's journeys are different, but that is a common one, being recognized and being understood for what you do. So when you kind of reach that point and you're like, things are going to change, like you see it, you would have seen kind of the sun on the horizon maybe. What what helped you not lose momentum? Like, everybody can have an epiphany, but sometimes it's like, "You know what I should do?" Swirl. Or, "You know what I should do? That's too hard." Or, "You know what I should do? Oh, nobody's gonna like it." So, what helped you move from that epiphany of, "I have more value than I even thought I did," to I'm going to do something and I'm going to, like we talked about before, I'm going to lean into that consistency and maximize my bandwidth and look into the creative things that I can do.
So I think, it from that specific situation, it made me realize like, okay, if I can do it, who else is doing it and who else is doing it on a higher level? And like, what are they doing in their life that's allowing them to continue to do that thing? And so I actually read a book. It's called Steal Like an Artist. The author is Austin Kleon, Kleon.
I think I've
And
heard of that book. I think I've
it's
heard of
it's
it.
a fantastic read, very short. The too long didn't read version is essentially that there's really nothing new in the world. Anything that's ever been done is an amalgamation of things that were already done before it. And so the quote that I really took away was good artists create and great artists steal. And I was like, that's interesting. But what I really learned from that is that the best artists aren't trying to be the next Leonardo da Vinci. They're not trying to be the next Picasso. Because if you're always chasing someone who is like at the peak of the game, you're also always waiting for them to do the next thing so that you can learn what to do next. Versus if you look at a couple of different people and you're like, well, I like what they got here, and I like a little bit of this, and I like a little of this, and some of this is cool, but not very much of it. So, like, just a little tiny bit of this. And you start taking in what works for you and then using it. You start to become your own version, your own like stylistic creativity, your own marketing message. And that goes in every area of life, right? There may be somebody who's very, very successful in business, but they have a terrible family life. Or you might have someone that's very, very great with their family, but they're always struggling. They're living paycheck to paycheck. And then you might have someone that's like super spiritual, but you don't always want to be like that publicly spiritual about it, right? Like you find the people who are where you kind of want to be, and then you just take the best of that and you use it for you. It's like we were saying earlier, success is a perspective. What works for me may not work for everyone. But there may be a few little pieces or nuggets that you can take away and go, hey, even though I don't want that guy's life, there are some things that he's doing that I think I could probably do that would help me improve mine. And that's ultimately what all of this is all about. I think, when you're creating your marketing, it's helping people realize where are they now? Where could they potentially be? and what are the steps they're going to take to get there without giving away the whole secret recipe, right? But I'm still a believer that you can literally give the recipe, the ingredients, everything and out everything they need to be successful, and 99% of the world's just not going to do it. At a
I'm the
certain point, a
same
lot of
way.
people just want to just, hey, I'm going to pay you to do this for me, right? That's why we go to restaurants. Could we make a fancy veal parmesan? Yeah, probably. But the odds of me growing a veal and doing like, nah, I'll just pay someone else to do it because I don't want to do that. And that's what I love about entrepreneurship is that you can find a niche where you're doing something for someone that they know needs to be done, and you can tell everyone exactly how to do it, and there's still going to be a large majority of the people that are just going to pay you to do it for them.
I 100% agree. Sometimes people say, "Well, why are you just telling me how to do it?" And I'll honestly say, "'Cause I'm pretty sure you'll be back." And I'm totally nice about it, totally nice, just it's complicated. And back to what you were saying about the value in that group chat when somebody valued what you did. It's like, I have value, you have value through our experience, what we do online, our clients, our family life, all the beautiful pieces that kind of come together to make us us means that we are great marketers. And it's the same reason why a doctor's a great doctor or a lawyer's a great lawyer or a runner's a great runner. It's all the pieces that they do together. So yes, 100%. I'm like, I'll just give it away. So totally get that. So as we kind of put everything together and wrap it up, what would you say, like you talked about like your past self and where you are now, and we talked about all the pieces and the mindset, but if you could give yourself, your past self, some advice on marketing or leveraging who you were or finding value in yourself, what would that advice be?
I've done a lot of introspection on this over the years, and so that advice always comes back to trust the process.
Ah,
Because I think so many people will go into a new course or a new strategy and they'll do it for a short amount of time and it doesn't get them the immediate results. And so they start to pivot, right? It's like you said earlier, squirrel, shiny object.
yeah.
Oh, what's this? What's this? And I think the biggest thing for me that's allowed me to maintain the momentum and continue to grow is that I just trust the process. Not every day is perfect, and some months are better than other months, and some years are better than other years. But at the end of the day, I know that if I keep showing up and I keep putting in the maximum amount of time, energy, and effort as I can into the projects I'm working on, at a certain point, the process will reveal what's working and what's not working. But you can't start building a Honda Civic and then decide that you want a Lamborghini and then have the Lamborghini parts shipped in and then realize they don't work. And then you're like, well, I don't even want a Lamborghini because now I have a fan, so I need a minivan. Like it just gets, it doesn't work.
It's
But if
true.
you start with one main vehicle and you're like, I'm just going to do this and be the absolute best at this that I possibly can, over time, you'll start to find where that bleeds into the other areas and gives you the opportunity to expand and grow. But far too many people give up, what's the cliche, 3 feet from gold, simply because they don't want to keep doing something. And I'm not saying that you should do something that's making you like broke or going crazy, but at a certain point, it's when you push past that moment that you realize that it was just you in your own way the whole time, anyways. You were doubting yourself. You were questioning your worth. You were wondering if it was going to work for you instead of just having that wholehearted belief of this is going to work and I'm going to be successful no matter what. So just trust the process because the process works, or people that were smarter than us wouldn't keep telling us what the process is.
That's beautiful advice. Trust the process. I love it, and I love the stopping 3 feet of gold too, because that's I see so much of that as well. So as we're closing up, tell us maybe what you're working on right now, what's next for you, and then also how people can find you and connect to work with you.
Thank you. So my big goal, crazy mission, is that by the year 2030, I want our Call the Damn Leads logo to be on at least one person in every airport across the country. I believe there's enough sales professionals, entrepreneurs, small business owners that it's 100% possible. We sell hundreds of copies of my book every month, hundreds of wristbands and, keychains and swag and all that sort of stuff. So I know it's possible. And just yesterday, I got a message from a friend of mine that's trying to buy a Porsche in Florida. And he was like, hey, look at the keychain in this picture from the online thing. And he like zoomed in, and it was a set of keys on the front seat with a call the damn leads keychain on it. And so I was like, God is reminding me we're getting one step closer every day. We just have to keep at it. And so if you want to be a part of that mission, you want to support the Call the Damn Leads movement, whether you're on the phones or just creating marketing so other companies can call their damn leads, the number one thing I would ask you to do, share this episode on social media,
Mhm.
because you invested your time, energy, and effort to be here to listen to me ramble on for the last 24 minutes. And Lynn took the time out of her day to be here to set this up for us. So, like, I want you to show that gratitude first by sharing this on the social platform of your choice, and then tag at Call the Damn Leads. We're at Call the Damn Leads on every platform. Brand congruency is very, very important to me, so we keep it simple across the board. You can always visit callthedamnleads.com if you want to buy some swag or order a book or
Oh, you have
whatever.
great swag.
Thank you. I'm very grateful
Great
for it.
swag.
I'm blessed and humbled by all means. It's amazing to see how many people support this movement, simply because, as you said earlier, it speaks to something deeper than just surface level stuff. Everyone knows there's something they should be doing. For a lot of sales professionals, entrepreneurs, small business owners, even marketers, you got leads, you got to call the damn things, whether you feel like it or not. And if you don't feel like it, you have two choices. You can either not do it and not be successful, or you can do it enough to figure it out so that you can delegate it to someone who's better at that than you are, so you can go back to doing your own marketing. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is something that everyone has to do in some capacity. And so if you like the show, you like it, make sure you leave some comments, reach out to Lynn, tell her, reach out to me, tell me. But more than anything, trust the process, call the damn leads, and believe in yourself, because you're capable of far more than you realize.
And the website again is?
Callthedamnleads.com.
Awesome. Well, Drewbie, thank you so much for cutting through the noise with us today. And for all the listeners, I want you to remember that your marketing doesn't need another delay. It needs a decision. You need to move forward. You need to. And this is where you need the button with everybody saying, call the damn leads. So go call those leads, move the mission forward, and keep your business in rhythm. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Marketing State of Mind. If this sparks something, hit subscribe and share it with someone navigating visibility too. Want to work together or see how I help vision-driven brands get clear and seen? Head to cyberprarmy.com or connect with me on LinkedIn, Lynn Kolpa. Until next time, sit in the clarity and remember, visibility isn't about shouting. It's about saying the right thing in the right state of mind.